Alright, let's try to draw this. Let's go to full screen. Whoopsie. There we go. Okay. I got another picture, and I need to look. I don't know how to add these pictures onto YouTube and the links. I do have them on the War Thunder forum, and if somebody really wants to do this tutorial, they can send me in the comments, send me an email address, and I'll see if I can mail them to you, or I'll show you where I got them online. Let's add an empty image. Open. I have this on my desktop. Okay, let's go 7. Let's go. Let's scale this. Scale. Okay. Let's come at an angle. Let's rotate this. Let's see, let's rotate this on the X. 90 degrees. Let's rotate this on the Z. 90 degrees. Let's look at it from the front. Let's grab it on the Y and bring it over here. And let's zoom in a little bit. Let's grab it on the Z. Let's bring it down. Oh, looky there, we're pretty close. And if you notice my humps, okay. What did I hit? Dang it, I screwed that up. Okay. I got a mouse that has like 12 keys on the side, and all I gotta do is bump it. Let's see if bump it. Yeah. Let's go Control Z, see if that fixes it. No. Oh, there it goes. Okay, good. 2 Control Z's fixed it. Let's go back to the front. What I was starting to say is actually, you notice the little humps that I drew on there from my second. Okay, let's try this. Let's grab it to the Y a little bit. Bring it over. Let's try to center this picture on this propeller. Let's grab it and go Z just a hair. Let's grab it and go Y again. Go to the left a little bit. Okay, let's push Z. And this isn't going to line exactly up. I have a sneaking hunch. Let's grab it on the Z. Let's come down a little bit. Okay, now let's scale it. Let's grab it to the Y. Let's grab it to the Z. Let's scale it down a little bit more. Okay, let's grab it to the Y. Grab it to the Z. Grab it to the Y. We're still a little bit big. Let's scale it down a little bit more. Grab it to the Y. Oops. Grab it to the Y. Grab it to the Z. Grab it to the Y, come just a tad to the left. That's pretty darn close there. And from the looks of it, and especially with this being a different picture than the one the other guy drew, it's pretty close. If you notice, the wings are a little bit offset. if we actually rotated this picture and lined it up with the wings, it would be bigger. But I'm pretty happy with how it looks in the front here. This will give us a reference for our exhaust pipes, and we might have to draw onto the body and then enlarge. We still might have to stretch this out just a hair or two, but this should give us our wing angles and stuff. So, okay, now what I do want to do with this picture too, let's see, let's go 7. Let's grab it, and then on the X, and let's bring this back here. We want it behind the airplane. We know, put it back here about where this engine is, pretty close to that engine picture. But this will be a fairly give or take blank picture for the. See, and it's still a little drawn out, but I think that's close. I ain't gonna keep playing with it till it's perfect, because it's never gonna be perfect. But it's close, so it kind of gives us an idea. Because what I'm wanting to draw next, I'm wanting to work on this window here. So let's add. And I'm kind of torn with what I want to do. I want to draw, I think, an actual simple circle instead of a UV sphere. Okay. Now, if we grab this, if we grab it as an object, this is what's good. If you don't go to edit right away, you grab it as an object, and we bring it up here. We'll push 7, and you can see the circle. And actually, the circle, like the cylinder, you'll notice it has 32. It has 32. Why is it not showing my? It should show the 32 in case you wanted to change it. Let's delete it right quick with the toolbar on. Let's try this again. Let's add. Let's add a circle again. There we go. It says add circle. It shows it has 32 vertices. I think on this one I'm going to keep my 32 vertices. Let's push T. Let's push 1 from the side again. Let's grab this on the Z. Let's bring it up. Let's go to the 7. Let's come to edit mode. You can see your 32 dots. Okay. Let's push E for extrude. Then let's push S for scale. And bring this right about there. We want it pretty thin. We can always thin it down some more, but sometimes it's easier to do this stuff first. Okay, now we're going to make a box. We're going to select all of these, right? Okay. Going to go to 1. We're going to push R for rotate. We're going to push Y. We're going to rotate this on the Y-axis, and we're going to push 90. Okay. We're going to grab it. I'm going to come to X, bring it up here a little bit. Now, see, I'm losing my center. I'm losing my actual center of the object. It's staying put, so I don't want to do that. So what I would have to do at that point is come back to object mode. And I can grab this. I can pull it, and it keeps the center with it. Right about a little more. Okay, just barely behind that, or you can actually go almost to the front of that thing. You can come right there. Okay. Now let's push 3. You notice I have this ring. And what I want to do, and I'm still in object mode. What I want to do is I want to grab this. Actually, we're going to scale again. We're going to hit S for scale. And we're going to make this smaller a little bit. Give or take about there. And I want to grab it as an object. I'm going to bring it down. And then I'm going to shift it up a little bit here. Even though this is kind of kind of blurry there. It's kind of hard to do it from far away. And if you get up so close, it gets so blurry you can't kind of see what's going on. So you got to kind of find a sweet spot. So I'll show you what I'm going to do now. We're going to push scale. And we're going to, what we kind of want to do is match the curve on this a little bit. So we're going to come to right about there. And then we're going to scale Z. Now see this, if you notice, if you're scaling Z, it turns your circle into a oval. Okay, so we're going to scale it a little bit like that. And we're going to grab it. Or we can also scale Z. We can make it flatter. And we grab it to the Z, bring it up. And the problem with this is it kind of matches. Okay, let's look from the side. Now see, our canopy on the side looks like it's taller than the canopy on the front, even though the cowling's kind of matching it. So definitely these planes are different drawings. So we might want to use this for the shaping of the cowling, and then actually use this one for the reference of the height of the windows and stuff, since this is the main pictures we're going on for the drawing. So we come back to this. Okay, now let's push scale. And we can scale it up a little bit. Thicken that out, grab it. Z, we're going to come down, and I'm going to go right above that actually. So okay, so I like that. Now if we go into edit mode, you'll notice we have about 4 vertices, and then we can put Z here for a second, which is kind of nice because it gets push A and select. Okay, so we have this top section kind of where we want it, but we don't have the rest of it where we want it. So we're going to want to box around this here. And box. And let's see, I want to come over on the other side here and box. And box. And box. And I know so far some of you might be totally lost. You're like, you probably don't even know what I'm doing right now. We're going to delete most of the bottom of this oval here in a minute. But for now, grab on the Z. We're going to stretch this down. Okay, see, we're going to stretch this down a little bit. And we're going to scale it on the Y, and we're going to bring it in a little bit. Right about there. We're going to leave that there. Boom. We're going to box. We're going to box this. And we're going to box this. And we're going to grab it just a little bit. And on the Z, and we're going to bring it down a little bit. Okay. Push A. Now one of the things I'm kind of maybe screwing up on is because on this window I'm kind of getting I'm not really getting around this. So what I might wanted to do, instead of having so few vertices, let's go Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Let's go back to this whole oval. And let's box this whole oval in. Let's scale this on the Y. And let's bring this down again. We're right about there. And then what's kind of nice about this is that we got We can push A. We can actually come box. Let's box these in right about here. Box in these bottom ones. Let's push delete. Let's delete these vertices. Okay, now let's grab this box here and this box here. This is almost where I should just draw 1/2 of something, put a mirror modifier on it. Let's grab this to the Z. Okay. There, let's push S and Y, scale for Y. Let's scale this down a little bit. Let's grab box these two right above it, box. Let's scale Y just a hair out. Let's grab the next two up, box and box. Whoopsie. Okay, we can grab it. What we were wanting to do, we were wanting to actual trick we can use, we can deselect this. Let's grab these two right here. Let's go scale Y, scale them just in a hair. And actually, let's grab all 6 of these now and go scale Y and scale them out to the outer edge of the frame here, which is about there. And click A, and then let's grab all these, and let's go scale Y, and let's bring it to where right about there. And I think that's pretty close to the shape we want. Let's come to the side on Y. Okay, now again, and another thing on this picture, I wonder why we're seeing that airplane picture, or that engine picture, if that engine picture is in front of that cowling. It's got to be. Let's go 7. No, it's actually behind it, but it's showing through for some reason. This shouldn't be that transparent. But anyways, what I was starting to say is that in front here, you're actually only seeing part of this canopy. So now what I want to do is I want to go box and zoom in a little box. I'll grab the inner lines here again. Or you can actually, I think, push. I think you can go to lines down here in this selection, and we think we can push Alt and click on the line. Yes, there we go. And now go back to dots. And we have this bottom line selected. Go to 3. Okay. Now we want to push scale on the Y. And we want to go a little wider. And then we want to go to 1. Okay, and we want to grab it on the X, and we want to drag it out a little bit. Okay. Now let's grab this whole thing here. Box it, grab it. Grab it on the X. Let's bring it forward a little bit. And let's scale this on the Z. Push SZ, and let's bring it to where, okay, scale it about there, and you notice this data, we want to grab it to the Z, bring it down just a hair. and push Z. Oh, and I forgot we have a little bit of, okay. So let's try this again. Let's go scale Z, and let's scale it up a hair, right about there. Scale Z, let's make it a little bit. Okay, grab Z, let's bring it up. We can go right about there. Okay. Now, one of the tricks we can use a little bit too is you can deselect this and actually make this invisible a little bit. Okay, we can box over this one and we can push scale on the Z, 0. We can flatten these lines out, push A, and probably actually wouldn't hurt too much to have them lines a little bit, except they're not flat. If we look from above, so one of the things we can do here, push Z, and we can box this inner line in again. Scale on the Y, and we can now the problem here is going to be this picture versus this picture, and since we're working with this one more so, see, okay, so we need to box this whole thing in, and let's go scale Y, and we need to widen it out to right about there. Let's go Z and see where we're at. Oh, a little too wide. Let's scale Y, let's scale it in a little bit. Right about there. And actually what we're going to do with this, instead of leaving this, well, actually we can add more stuff into it a little bit later. But for the time being, we just want to get the general shape right. Okay, so one of the things we need to do for that is, see, box, grab Z on this top one a little bit. And box. And okay. One. We can leave that be, but we can grab this with a box. These two, grab Z, bring them up just a little bit. Look at this. And again, this sometimes can be some of the hardest part. It's about drawing this. I'm even tempted. I'm starting to think I might mess with the cockpit later on in this, because I can always come back to this and draw. I can always come back to this and draw a cockpit and then add it into the airplane. Even though I'm tempted to draw the cockpit with it. I don't really play simulator, but I'm sympathetic to the people that do play simulator on this game. So if I actually added a cockpit now, it would be a good thing. But I'm starting to think that for these tutorials, if we draw the airplane, if we actually make the airplane model and not worry too much about the cockpit, and we can get the airplane made and see if we can get this thing into the game. Because the biggest thing on this experiment that I'm wanting to do is and with teaching is show you how to draw an airplane, show you how to texture it, UV map it, do the bump map, and some of that I'm still learning. But I want to make this airplane basically look like the airplane in this picture, and for us to be able to put it in Autodesk and put it into the Thunder CDK. and actually stick this in a mission and put a flight model to it, damage models to it, and collision models to it, and we'll be able to fly it, land it on the water, have the little guy in the back shoot the machine gun out the back of it, which is kind of weird on this airplane. This was actually a pretty small airplane. So when you see the machine gun, the way it came out on a spring mechanism, and then the guy's head's so big, he actually stood up. You'd be surprised at how far he stands up out of this airplane in the back, because they were really crammed in this airplane. It's a small plane, and he had 130 caliber machine gun off the back of this. So like I'm saying, I'm kind of leaning towards that we could always go do further cockpit stuff later on as its own thing. If I can draw the airplane and draw it how they want it drawn for the CDK, because you have to draw it in sections so that it'll break apart in sections and stuff like that, and then we'll stick it in the game. I think that's kind of biting off a big amount anyway, so okay. Now what I want to do in here is I want to actually add a loop cut right here. Oh, except for I need to go transparent so that I get a loop cut on both sides, since this isn't all the way around. So I'll put the cursor in this section. You'll see it show up. I'm going to hit Control R. Yes, I want one there. Whoops. And I'm going to hit A. Now I need to check and see, make sure it did it both sides. And it didn't actually do it both sides. It only did it on one side. So I'll angle this, do this again. Control R. Whoopsie, except for that's not the right place. There we go, I think. Hit the one. Oh. And yes, that's parallel. No, it's not parallel. So we'll hit Control Z. And we'll come in here and we'll push Control R. The slide angle, and that's not where I want. There we go. I brought it to the front. Click A, click A. Okay, so now I have a double loop cut where I want it. And the reason I needed that loop cut is because this is where this is going to get a little bit funky. We're going to box and grab these. Okay, we're going to push E for extrude on the X, and we're going to drag this out here, right here. And then we're going to scale it on the Z, and we're going to scale it down a little bit like that. Then we're going to grab it on the Z, and we're going to angle it a hair right about like that, so it kind of matches those lines. And then if you look at this from the top, okay, now we're going to scale this to the Y. And we're going to stretch that in like this. And if you start noticing this is probably going to be one of the funkiest parts. Again, we're going to run into little areas on this airplane especially. And I had a lot of fun last time figuring out how to draw the floats for the Seiran. Some of this stuff ain't going to be too bad, but some of this is just going to be, sometimes I just sit around, go to work, and then I sit there and think about this. I'm like, okay, how do you draw this? 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 Especially when you're going 3D. Let's hit the Z and see what this thing looks like. Okay. So it looks kind of funny from the, it doesn't, almost don't look right from an angle. But it looks good from the side. Oh, okay, I know what's wrong with it. And I think I can fix it. So if we come from the top, we hit A. And we're going to box this middle one in. Then we're going to grab it on the X, and we're going to bring it back to about there. Then we're going to grab these next two, and we're going to grab them on the X, and we're going to bring them back to about there. And then we're going to grab the next two. We're going to grab those on the X and bring them back. And then the next two, we're going to push A, we're going to grab these next two. We're going to grab those on the X and bring them back just to here. Okay, and then we're going to grab these two and these two on the bottom. We're going to scale them on the Y a little bit here. And let's see what I'm doing wrong here. Let's box in all of these ones here. Sometimes I don't grab the, okay, like sometimes I miss it. There's one. And box on this one. Okay, let's grab these to the X a little bit, move them a little bit forward. I moved them a little too far back. And let's go. Let's box on this. And box on this. Oh, it's because I hit my N, I think. Okay, let's scale this to the Y here and widen it out. Let's grab it to the X, bring it back a little bit. There we go. Let's push our N again. Get rid of that. That N brings in that, brings in your. This is an extra transforming window and stuff, and we're not really using it with what we're doing right now. So. And like I said, I know there's a button for this other tool tab on the right here, and I need to find out what that is because I don't know what it is at the moment. But okay, let's take and grab. Let's box these three and box these three. Missed the one. Box it. Okay, let's hit E for extrude to the X. We're going to extrude down this way. Okay, and if you notice, notice we really distorted some things up here. One way to fix this is we're going to push A to deselect that. We're going to box this one in. Grab it Z. And actually grab it Z, bring it straight up to about there. And we're going to grab these. Grab it Z. Please excuse my phone. I should have just put it in the drawer, and I didn't. We're going to bring those lines to where they're pretty much parallel. Click A. Okay, we're going to box these ones. We're going to grab them on the Z. And we're going to box these next ones here. Going to grab them on the Z. Grab grab Z. Okay. Now with this one, I think we're about good. Let's push Z and see how that looks. Does that look a little better? Kind of, but not really. Let's grab this one and this one. Let's grab it on the Z just a little bit, and that looks a little bit better. Sometimes you have to look at these things at an angle. Okay. Now again, what we want to do is we're going to grab this end and this end. Push our one. And we're going to grab them on the Z. We're going to come down. Okay, now one of the tricks to this, I'll show you a little trick to this. We're going to push R for rotate. And then we're going to push Y. And then we're going to rotate these just like this a little bit. And then when we grab them to the Z and we bring them down, you'll notice it changes those angles again. Okay. We can do that again, rotate on the Y. And you can kind of straighten out your frames and angles. Okay, now if we start looking at this we start looking at this as a picture, you notice we're starting to get our window here, or our window frame here. And we're going to have to stretch these things around a little bit. And we're going to have to extrude, and or we're going to put loop cuts in here. I'm going to show you some tricks how you can just throw some lines in here. And when we get done, we should have, we might have to move some of this crap too, but when we get done, we should have our little front window frame, and that'll be nice. Because if we get this little window frame made for the front canopy, and that's one of the hardest things, like I was saying, to draw on here, the actual canopies, the sliding canopies here, it's not going to be that hard. This little back canopy is actually going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass too, but I kind of think I got a trick how we can use a sphere and stretch it and cut it, or maybe a torus, I'm not sure yet. One of the things I try to do before I make these videos is I actually come in here and try to draw something, like if I'm not sure about it, and then that way I have kind of more of an idea about it, so I'm not just dragging you guys along the slow, like I don't know what I'm doing path, but I do run into that a little bit sometimes, like I don't know what I'm doing. Or okay, now I see a little thing in this window, and if you notice from above, and see, like this is all just a little bit wider, it seems like, on this. So if we box this and we box this one here, scale to the Y, we can bring that in a little bit. There we go. Like I said, sometimes this is just compromising and stuff a little bit until you get it where you want it, and sometimes you're just flat out looking at it as a 3D object, and then you look at a picture of it and you go, that don't look right, and then you try to figure out, well, why doesn't it look right? Well, it doesn't look right because these vertices all have to, they all have to come up and be a little bit flatter, and then maybe that. And then you look at the side picture, and then you're kind of like, yeah, that don't look right. These two are too high. This one's too low. You can just grab Z. Like, I'll move that up a little bit, maybe. And anyways, we keep playing with it. We'll get it figured out. We'll say, that's too high. That's too low. That's not. you know, that's not far enough forward to where it looks like. Because sometimes things will look really good from the top and the bottom, or so you can have stuff look good from the side and you're all happy with it. And then you go to messing around with it and it's like, no, that ain't right. And you start connecting, you know. And we're going to connect this all to this frame here. So like with these bottom two, look, we're not going to do it now, but we have to select one as a parent, which would be the main part of the body, and one as the child, which would be your window frame. Once we get our window frame all how we like it and we think, yeah, that's how it should look, that's how it looks sitting inside the airplane, or it's feasible, the window will work and whatever, whatnot. Once we get that done, and we get this stuff, because we also want to be able to put surfaces in here, and then I'll show you how you select the material to make them look transparent, to make it look like it's actually going to have a window in it, so that it looks like it has glass or you know, plexiglass or whatnot. And there's some little tricks to that. So see, and that's funny, I raised that stuff up, so now it seems like, Z, let's block this. See, now it seems like this. Grab it on the Z. And then it seems like we had lowered those. Then we'll keep messing with it. Sometimes the tricks on this thing is to actually draw each one of your pieces and set it into the place basically where it's going to go, and then draw the next piece and then attach them together and stuff. But I think this is a good start, and I know I'm probably on 30 minutes right now, so I'm going to go ahead and end this now. So hopefully I'm not on 30, but I'm probably on 30 to 35 minutes, because that's usually when my brain starts telling me, hey, it's about time to shut this down. And I didn't get quite as far as I want, but we still made progress. So as long as we're making progress and you guys can, you know, stand to listen to me, because I know, you know, some of you are probably beating your head on the desk. Come on, man. But there's some of the stuff you got to have some patience for. So we will see you on next video. This is video 10. We will catch you on 11, and thanks for drawing with me.